Hello Shiva, today I want to talk about Pokemon competitive hot take that I got from my friends. And if you want to give your hot take, please comment it down. And so we shall start. Now the first competitive hot take is from Asu. Asu has said that we should have ban and train system like Smogon. It is better for the Pokemon that are lower tier. So I kind of changed the wording because I don't remember exactly what he said, but he has said that. And I agree with this a lot because a lot of times Pokemon don't get used because there are better Pokemon. For example, Scraggy. Scraggy never gets used. Staffy. Staffy never gets used because Incineroar is everywhere. So it's better than Staffy in every possible way. But the problem with this that is Incineroar invalidates a lot of Pokemon like Arcanine, like Hitmontop, and it invalidating a lot of different kind of Pokemon. The issue with this take is that Pokemon company is never going to do this. They already do system like regulations and series. Are having regulations like regulation MA for Pokemon champions. They have regulations like regulations AX for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And the thing with this is that this is based on the amount of Pokemon that are in the decks or are in the game. This is not based on the Pokemon that are being used based on tiering system or something else. Tiering system is where the Pokemon is used according to how good it is. If it is being used the most, it will be the highest tier, and then if it is being used, it is used less in lower tiers. This makes some other Pokemon good in other positions and other roles, and this gives variance to the game and makes it more interesting. The Pokemon company is never going to do this because an already existing format does it, and second reason is they are just really attached to the way making Pokemon competitive seem that we are still playing the original Pokemon mainline games. So the next take is from Zark. Zark has said that Triple XL is more consistent than Hurricane. Now, it is both true literally and figuratively. Zark's thought process behind this take is that Triple XL, even though it's similar accuracy than Hurricane, still hits much more often than Hurricane, and that makes sense. Triple XL is actually 72% accurate and 120 base power. This is because every hit of Triple XL is 90% accurate and it hits 3 times, and it has base power of 20, which increases by plus 20 every time it connects. So it maxes out at 120 base power. Now, if the accuracy check is 90% every time, that accuracy is obviously higher than Hurricane, but if we combine the accuracy of all 3 hits, it becomes 72% accurate, which is still higher than Hurricane, but it is similar to it, and it is confusing that Triple XL hits much more often than Hurricane. And the reason behind is that even though it hits much more often, sometimes it seems like it is hitting much more often. The thing about it is that it is running 90% accuracy check, and with 90% accuracy check means it is going to hit much more often than not as compared to Hurricane, which is 70% accurate, which is not even 3/4 of the perfect accuracy. And it also matters in a way where Hurricane is the sole move a lot of Pokemon rely on. For example, Pokemon like Zapdos, Pokemon like Mortis don't have much better flying type moves. They have to rely on Hurricane, and Pokemon like Charizard Y can't even use Hurricane because it just gets nerfed to 50% accuracy in sunlight. The thing with the Triple XL is that it is a secondary option for a lot of Pokemon that use it. For example, Pokemon like Mega Lopunny has a better moveset, and they use Triple XL just as a counter to Pokemon like Landorus, Therian, and Pokemon like Weavile has other moves like Ice Spinner, Icicle Crash. So they have other options and they can choose when they want to, which is why Triple XL just ends up being a move that is a choice, an optional choice that you are not forced to every time run it, unlike Hurricane, which is oftentimes your only move. And when something is your only move, you are going to run it more times and then feel the impact of missing a lot more times as compared to Triple Excel. Now the third Pokemon competitive hot take we have is that Doom said Scarlet and Violet is the hardest time to get into competitive Pokemon. And now, I kind of agree with this take, but I kind of also don't. The thing about this take is that it is referring to how Scarlet and Violet has a lot of mechanics like terrestrialization. It has a lot of Pokemon where we have a lot of different kind of thing, complex abilities that make it difficult to learn competitive, and as well as there are a lot more Pokemon players now than there were used to be, which is why it is also a lot of competition around, which makes it harder to play the game. But the thing about this is that Pokemon competitive has been harder once before. In Generation 7, there were a lot of mechanics like terrains, Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Tiger Y, Mega Salamence, Mega Metagross. Basically, there were a lot of new things that were came and they were broken. Like a lot of broken things came at once in Generation 7, where you had to learn Pokemon Z moves, Pokemon Mega, and things like Pursuit, Hidden Power. There were so many mechanics that you had to keep in mind. Any weather, like so many things that you are keeping in mind. Which is why I believe in from a perspective of Pokemon game mechanics, Generation 7 was harder, but in some perspective of competition, I think that Generation 9 is the hardest time to get into competitive Pokemon. Now, the fourth hot take we have is from Deranged. Deranged has said that RNG aspect of Pokemon is bad. And now, I was thinking that this is a good take because like a lot of people don't like RNG aspect of Pokemon, and I think it is also bad. I was also thinking it is bad, but then I saw a video from Falso Gaming, and then I thought about it myself and I was like, maybe it's not bad. Because RNG set of Pokemon gives a balance to the game. It makes it unique. If Pokemon didn't have this balance, the Pokemon game would be a lot more predictable. It would be a lot more based on the mind games. Like sometimes you are going to win against the better player because of the luck based aspect, and I think that is actually a good thing. It forces the better player to actually think at every moment. It makes the player that is actually better has to be forced into making decisions that are tough. He has to make the decision like if he wants to use fire blast for more power, flamethrower for less power but more consistency. There are a lot of things that matter in this conversation. Sometimes luck-based aspects cannot be ignored, like Hurricane. I just talked about it. And another thing like some moves that Pokemon get and they don't have a secondary option for that, like Focus Blast, they also remove Hidden Power. But what I would say is that it is a better thing for the game. It forces both players to think critically. If you want to risk the Focus Blast hitting, or if you want to wish for the missing, like a lot of things matter if you want to win a game. And sometimes the luck-based aspect is not even at the fault for losing a match. It is your own capability. Like you could have made a better move. You could have done something else. And sometimes if it is not possible to do something better in the match, it is possible to do something better in team builder. You can make a team that is quite different. You can make a team that has more consistent things. So there are a lot of things in Pokemon that are luck based, but it makes the game more interesting and has more variance. Even though it feels worse to lose to something unlucky, the thing is sometimes you are losing because of your own goal. It is not because of the luck. You should try to do something better and accept that you have lost and the other player has played well and it is the end of conversation. Accepting this just makes you a better sportsman, sports person, and I would really say that RNG effect of Pokemon is good in a very unique way. Now, for the time of the last competitive hot take of this video, that is from El Sandias, who has said that Protect is not the best move in Pokemon Doubles. Now, this is an interesting take. I think this take is talking about, like, not I think, I just asked them, like, what you are talking about, and they said that I am talking about signature moves that are more broken than Protect. And then I understood they're talking about signature moves like Nihil Light, they're talking about signature moves like Thousand Arrows. So then I thought about this and I was like, they are thinking about the strongest moves. The thing is categorization. A Pokemon's move is strongest because it has a lot more value than other moves. Like if you click Thousand Arrows, you are of course going to make some progress. But the thing that makes Protect the best move in Pokemon Doubles is the positioning value of it. Pokemon Doubles is based on a lot of positioning and keeping your Pokemon safe at every time. Like sometimes a Pokemon, an opponent's Pokemon doubles upon you and you just die. You will just die if you do not have Protect. Protect introduces a new kind of mind game into the game where if you just want to out offense your opponent, you can't do this because they can just protect and then they can kill you back with other moves. And in doubles, the positioning will do a lot of things for you and your opponent. So if you're talking about strictly the best move in the game, it is going to be Protect because it is offering more value, more game progression and more overall utility than other moves. And if you're talking about strongest move, then it is going to be some signature move. Protect is the best move in the game, even though it is not the strongest.